Oh, how I have not been looking forward to this week. Oh boy. What have I set myself up for? Howdy ho, folks. Welcome to Crap Games Week. How y'all doing? First of all, I'm cracking this open now. Be advised, I would highly advise alcohol for the next couple of streams because this is not going to be fun for me. I realize, with what little time I have left, I might as well throw in a few logs on the fire, and by logs, I mean logs of turds, because, so the way that this works is, I picked out 3 games that I've wanted to do playthroughs of, but I guess because we don't have the time to do, I might as well just kind of look at them one at a time. And this first entry, do I need to explain Bubsy 3D to you guys, or do you already know how bad this game is? I'd figure for how long this game has been out, and how much the internet has thrown shade to it, I think everybody already knows about this game, so I don't really need to give an introduction to Bubsy 3D. Nor do I need to do this for the rest of this week, but I got a terrible intros. Yeah, I am. Yeah, so the way that this works is I'll give each game about 2-ish hours, and then we're gonna figure out what exactly went wrong with the development of this game. So, without further ado, I'm not looking forward to it. I will admit, I have played this before. I've never actually beaten it legit. I've kind of just skipped to the end, so. Yeah, Adam and I actually did play the multiplayer of this once when I first started testing out my PS1. This was actually one of the first games that I did add to my PS1 hard drive too. I am giving this game as little hope and faith as possible, just knowing what I do about it. If it'll boot up. I might throw a little bit of lore for what I know about this game here and there, but probably starting with this. You guys know this is made by the guys who later went on to make Days Gone on PS4. Ben Studio, I believe. Yeah, I love that they reprinted the box, or they reprinted the cover art for this game with a bunch of awards that are seemingly, for what I know, are fake awards. They made fake awards for this game just to make it have more praise. The thing that I don't get with Bubsy 3D is why exactly did they go with the art design that they did? Yes, I get this game is about Woolies, the enemies from the first game, but why did they exactly make the game look the way that it did? Because the first couple of stages of this game do not leave a lasting impression on what the PlayStation can do. If it's just bland, like 1 color or 2 color landscape.
Our magnificent queens devised an ingenious plan to steal all the wool balls of Earth, but they were foiled by the fiendish Bubsy Bobcat. Now our queens have developed an even more ingenious, if such a thing is possible, invasion plan. Unfortunately, they needed to get the furball out of the picture.
Yeah, I'll give you guys time if you haven't already. Go get a couple beers because this is gonna be a long one for me. I'm just gonna crush these one at a time. I'm willing to bet I'm not gonna be able to beat this game in 3 hours tops, because I don't regularly play it because I would like to keep my sanity intact. Who keeps throwing out the Homer Simpson woohoo? Also, it's not just the frame rate on the it's not just the frame rate on the stream as well. The frame rate for this FMV is actually this bad on my PlayStation.
Any questions? What does it want? What did we ever do to it? We have our best people in Woody Intelligence working on that right now. So far, all we know.
Oh yeah, you have to collect it. Yeah, no way in hell am I collecting all the rockets in this game.
What it plans to do with these useless yet abundant natural resources, we have no idea. Our best scientists have been stumped by that very question.
The audacity for this game that has multiple endings, too, depending on if you get the rockets or not.
Why would this interest the furry fiend? Oh, again, we have no idea. Now then, I advise all citizens to remain in their homes until further notice. This meeting is...
You're the Bobcat.
I knew I should have taken that left turn at Uranus. Was it something I said? What could possibly go wrong?
Alright. One minor drink. I don't know why I'm doing this now instead of doing a Gexathon. What am I doing this for anyways? I shouldn't have any save files on this because I never actually played this on PlayStation. I like played this on emulator. Yeah, this game also has a password save for whatever reason. Yeah, funny you mentioned that. I learned that the Bubsy in the animated pilot was voiced by Rob Paulson. Alright, let's get on with this. Also, because this is pre-DualShock, the controls for this are going to be terrible. And I purposely left the voice on as well, too. Just to remind you how bad it is. There we go.
And if you get enough of them, you'll be in for some surprises.
Lonnie Manella, everybody. Same voice as Waffle Rygret from Tail Concerto. You know, that other game that we just played. It's far better than what this could be.
That's better. Gimme.
Jungle.
Yow! Bullies! My enemies! Let's bop 'em!
Yes, the controls are tank controls.
Now, if you lose a Bubsy, you'll start over here instead of at the beginning of the level! Ain't life grand? Come on! Don't be shy! Step right up and win valuable prizes! Shoot the woolly with the atom!
How do I... Oh. Oh yeah, it is also very easy to fuck up in this game. From what I remember, if you hold on to one of these atoms for too long, it actually hurts you. Okay, so how many lives do I have already? 8. This just tells you where the rockets are. I can get through this, or at least I can stomach the first couple of levels. But, like, once the navigation in these levels starts to get dreadful, that's when I can't handle it anymore. Like, if I'm just running around trying to figure out where exactly the fuck I'm supposed to go, that's what killed me with this game. Never mind, I can handle annoying voices in the game fine. Hell, the simplest solution to that... The simplest solution to that is just to mute the TV. And I can even handle ugly graphics like these.
Alright!
God. Yeah, I think we're already at the... Never mind, went too far. Land Before Time. Oh, I can imagine any worse kids games, third-party games on this. You might even argue that there are even worse games than Bubsy 3D on the PS1. Like, the M&M's race, the M&M's whatever game it was on the PS1 that I played once was terrible. It was a Crash Bandicoot clone. But because this game has gotten so much notoriety over the years.
I'll rock it! Find 31 more of these, and we're like yesterday's clones! Shout it here! Well, let's go get the other one. There's 2 on every level, you know!
The level wouldn't end because Bubsy wouldn't shut up. Oh, I'm just nitpicking this here. This is already my second one today. I've already had another one of these. Let's just get on with it. Two might not even be enough. But I probably remember the first half of the levels in this game better than the second half. There's only 18 levels in this game, so thank God it's short enough that if you do want to beat this in one sitting, it would probably take 3 hours max. Knowing if you know what to do. So, like, I'll probably also say the obvious thing. Yes, Mario 64 was out in Japan by this time. I think this was, what, October 90? Okay, so Mario 64 was even out in the US by that point. So I realized that this was also being developed at the same time as Mario 64 and Crash Bandicoot, but probably better comparing it to Crash Bandicoot. I mean, hell, I think I remember seeing gameplay footage of this being shown off literally right next to the Crash Bandicoot booth at E3 96. So, for the devs to have to show this off when Crash Bandicoot is literally right next fucking door, that's a lot of pressure on them. I think even they knew at the time that comparing this game to Crash Bandicoot, they were kind of, yeah, they were up the ass with this one. There also does exist, I think it's one of the PlayStation demo discs that I have on my, on the wheel, but there does exist, a PS1 demo disc that has demos of both Crash Bandicoot and Bubsy 3D. So, you literally can yourself make the decision as to what's better, Bubsy 3D or Crash Bandicoot. Just from a PS1 demo. Good, that one's done. I'm sure this game would have done way much worse if it came out any later, too. Like, imagine this game compared to fucking Ape Escape. Now, why exactly they also brought back this series? When did Woolly Strike Back? Like 2017, I think? Yeah, why exactly they brought back this series? Whether it was for licensing or because somebody got Forsaken asked for it, I'll never understand. Well, they brought it back twice. Honestly, I legit thought we would have gotten another game after Pause on Fire, if it was necessary anyways. Wait, sweet. The hardest part, I mean, The other hardest part about this is because the camera moves up every time I jump like this, it's kind of hard to know exactly where I'm landing by depth perception. Like shown. Because this is PlayStation controls with the D-pad only, it just makes it twice as tough. I never remembered how generous the,
one-stop shopping!
I never remembered how generous the first couple of stages were with live, though. See? Like that. Well, even though it's only stage 3, I'm getting along pretty swimmingly. That's... Oh, never mind. Never the fuck mind. Of the 3 games that I picked out for this week, this is probably the lightest one. I wanted to start out doing something that I already know that I've played at least once. That everybody knows at this point, though. Well, Bobcat's sinking like a brick. Yeah, you don't even... Okay, yeah, here's where I'm probably creating all my lies. But, like... If you accidentally fall off the edge here, there's, like, no recovery.
Who needs pixie dust?
Also, there's no way to get into a glide if you just regularly jump. So, like, triangle is the glide jump. So, like... Okay. Never. Alcohol's already coming up. Where? There's a couple water stages in this new too that should be pretty easy. These platforms fall. What? Oh. The end is right there. I had 9 freaking lives going into this. Smartass. Get us out of this one. don't know why anybody says they like this game. The people who say that they like this game are actually, or who actually back it, are probably the ones who have played it so much that they've started to succumb to the fault of it. Also, I like how Bubsy gets hit, or dies with every single one of these cuts. Oh, I'd better then. I mean, geez, I think by late 1996 there would have been something else better to play on PlayStation. Wasn't Resident Evil out also at this time? Alright, I think this is the first boss stage. Like, not the director's cut, but like the original release of Resident Evil. Alright, let me see if I remember how to... Yeah. Alright, first boss. Camera. Oh my god, camera. Yo. Yeah, so all those lives that I just picked up at the beginning of the game are already gone.
Great going, wingman!
I see. Hitboxes. This playthrough's not big enough for two loudmouths. Fine. Hold on a second, I gotta send something. Today's been an ordeal with the job hunt. My mom keeps texting me. Job responses. Even when I'm not working, duty still calls. Okay, how do I beat this guy? At least how do I fly on top of him? I'm burning through life like midnight oil. Alright, first game over. Beer's almost up already. I'm gonna see how far I can get in about 2-ish hours of this game. And then I'll probably just do it again. I get that the DualShock wasn't out yet. It wouldn't be out for like another year and a half after this. But they definitely could have battened down on their controls for this game. I don't know how they would have done it, but... Nope, I'm not hit by it.
Alrighty then.
Oh, glide, please.
See ya.
Come on.
Watch it.
That's not fair. You should get at least a couple frames of invincibility when you respawn. Not spawn right into a trap like that. The other problem is Bubsy's glide doesn't go far enough to hit this guy. Sweet. Yeah, every time I'm trying to hit this guy, I just go straight through the platform instead of hitting this guy. Oh my god, hi Ivy! How are you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Haven't seen you here in a while. Hi, I'm playing this travesty of a game. Enemy, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? The job hunt has been going absolutely sour again. Come on! Look at this bullshit! Yeah, I usually have that roll just to kind of scare the zoomers out. Well, I got feedback. Well, so what happened today, I guess I should probably explain this while I'm losing my sanity over this. What happened today is I got a... Oh my god. I got an email response on why I didn't get the job from this customer service position that I applied to a couple weeks ago, and they told me a couple of things. Number one, I guess I told them that I was having trouble, I was having a bit of trouble in trying to cooperate with, the kids that I worked with over the last year, and that I kind of put it as, like, the kids that I worked with were kind of like a hindrance. So, being in a customer service position, they kind of want me to have a more positive attitude. I'll give them credit for that. I wasn't the most positive person on working with the kids, but you know what? It's little kids that I was working with. Give me some credit that working with kids is a hassle anyways. So, that was one thing. And the other thing that they told me was that they tried to ask me why, or like if I had any like bad customer service myself, in giving customer service. But like my experience with that was like I had a lot of customers that I worked with when I was working at Goodwill. A lot of them were pretty cranky on why they couldn't donate the stuff. And I guess they were looking for an answer, or like they were looking for an answer on like what would I do given in a situation that, you know, bad customer service was given to me rather than, you know, I give it to them. So I guess they thought I was a little bit inattentive with that. So that's the reason why I didn't get that job, and why, you know, and why they didn't put me on for any more. So, but they did say that they liked the insight that I gave when working, like the other job that I was doing was like working with Paul Bear, so they liked that I was coordinating a lot of stuff. So they said that I would probably be better suited for like an analytics job or something more administrative, which I thought customer service was administrative, but not. I don't know. It's hard for me in my ADHD brain and experience working with people who I don't want to say are lesser experienced than I am, but like trying to explain everything to everybody like they're 5 years old gets tiring. But that was just with the little kids, though. When I was working with the high school students, my experience with them was so much better. You know, the older people that I was working with, and hence why I relate to people who are older than me anyways, gives me so much better experience than working with somebody who I'm willing to bet a lot of these kids are also something deficient. It's a lot to ask. Even just for an entry-level customer service. So, there's probably a chance I wouldn't 100% put my finger on it. But like, there's probably a chance that I might go back to working retail hell when I move back into my parents' place, or my mom's place. Just to keep myself afloat again. Plus, my mom called me 20 minutes before stream to ask, you know, like, how am I going to pay off all these student loans and everything. Yeah, that's one hit. How many hits do I need on this guy? I'm trying to work as best as I can with what I have on my resume, so. We've already game over 3 times on this guy. Not teaching accountability. Am I wrong for saying that these kids at 8 to 10 or whatever years old should know better? I get that I'm 23 and trying to teach them something that probably is 10 whatever years outdated by my experience. Like, I just don't even relate to these kids. So it's... Please! I not want to spend the next 20 minutes on this bullshit. I mean, the other downside of it is I learned most of my experience from my father teaching me everything, and my father hasn't seen a calendar flip past 1986 ever. Oh yeah, Father's Day was a special treat too. Don't remind me about that. So it's a lot within generation gaps, especially that because I learned so much from my father. A lot of it's rubbed off on me. Oh, fuck, this is gonna take forever. It was like, there were a couple of the middle school kids that I got along with well. Most of them, because they had souls as old as mine.
You're not so tough.
But like, it was one in every, probably 8 kids or whatever, that was like that I got along with well. Every other one was just functional. Also, never mind that these were inner city kids as well, too. Like, the area that I work within is very, kind of low income, so... God help these kids if they're ever gonna amount to something one day. Boss fight. Dreadful. Oh, yeah, a lot of single mom. That's Cleveland, baby. 3 in every 10 people are living in the poverty line.
He's dead, Jim.
How many hits do I need on this guy? If I can even get more than one. Camera. Camera, please!
Don't like a butterfly. 2 points.
Ugh. It'd be so much easier if Bubsy's glide went so much further. Again. See, look at this. We're 45 minutes into this, and I'm already frustrated as ever. Oh. Barkeep, pour me another glass. How close do I have to be to this guy?
Strength and beauty,
Come on, at least give me some sort of iframes from coming back to this.
Easy pickings!
Shut the fuck up. You know what I'm looking at? Yeah, that's Bubsy 3D for you. Game is a total eyesore to look at, much less to play. These things that you... Fox. What the fuck? How did they make Crash Bandicoot look so good for the early PlayStation? And this looks like it's in early alpha. This would be fine if it was like somebody's homebrew project that they single-handedly made. With the Net Eurozzi. Oh yeah, I'm willing to bet that something was unfinished with this game. Kind of dodged it, just stayed here. There we go! Finally! Good fucking lord! God damn! It was just the first boss of the game, too. Imagine how the rest of the game is gonna go.
I won!
I barely won. Alright, first water level. Water levels are easy.
That wasn't so hard, was it?
Shut up. I don't think I have any attacks underwater, though. water levels were like the one thing they did okay in this game. Yeah, you do. You do have oxygen.
You're not so tough.
Oh, this is my attack. Oh, there it is. Done. Okay, so most of the stages in this go by very quickly. I'm just trying to blast through this as fast as possible. I select the same stage. No, okay. Look how derpy that Bubsy is. Alright, well. Here's where the stages start looking a little bit better. But they definitely get harder from here on out. Also, after the second boss, there's pretty much very little what I remember from this game. Jumps you have to make. Oh, come on! Oh. Oh, never mind. Would have been nice to know. Right. Out of one hole and in the other.
Didn't read the instructions, didn't you?
How many lives do I have after that boss? One. Don't you get extra lives for collecting more atoms, too? At least you should. Back at the start, alright. Yep. I'll give credit to Kyle. He has so much more patience with these kinds of games. Anybody else would. I should have shot him with the Atom.
An X-Man.
Not only are most of Bubsy's one-liners just not funny after you hear them the 37th millionth time, most of them just don't even make any sense. Even Gex, with how dated most of the references are, I can still laugh at a Dennis Miller joke from 1993. Bubsy's one-liners just come off as annoying through and through. I love poorly dated humor as much as the next guy. But if it doesn't come off as subtle right away, then it's not going to land with me. This is where the navigation gets to be pretty dreadful. Look at this. Yeah, they used to complete... For the remakes, or for the reboots of the games, or at least the last two games, they used a completely different voice for him. And it sounds like he went through, like, late-stage puberty. Oh, no, never mind. That was my last game over anyways. Kind of almost like how Mega Man sounds in Mega Man 11. Like, I'm so much more used to Mega Man having a kid's voice, and then Mega Man 11 comes out, and I'm like, holy shit, did Mega Man turn 15? He went from sounding like the cutest kid ever to sounding like Season 3 Inuyasha. Oh yeah, there is a way to kind of cheese. Like, you can almost kind of clip into the walls and, like, go over each stage, if you know how. Can't believe I'm getting my ass handed to me by Bubsy fucking 3D.
Would have killed Arnold.
About Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, see? Like that. You have to have a funny punchline for this. Bubsy is delivering the punchline without the joke. Got it. Oh, come on! What everybody paid to see, right? People pissed off the time. Don't ask for enough in one day. But next, is he going to make a reference to Jean-Claude Van Damme? Hell, I'd rather be watching the Street Fighter movie than this. At least it gives me something more to talk about. At least the enemies don't respawn when you lose a life. Oh yeah, you can climb onto these things. At this rate, collecting lives basically almost isn't even worth it. Oh, isn't it? I see that as I'm about to go for life.
I needed that!
I'm not even hit. It's not that I'm not even hitting them. It's that my hitbox is so bad that it counts as a hit anyways. Like if you land right next to them, but it still visibly doesn't touch them, you can still get hit anyways. I know this is hard to look at, but this is honestly pretty much the best optimal way to play this, in order to avoid getting hit by these guys.
An X-Man!
What do I have again? Did I get the checkpoint? Nope. So suddenly in this stage, checkpoints are now few and far between. I at least want to get up to the second boss for this game. You guys should be grateful. Kyle had to have cards pulled for this game. You actually had to buy in to watch Kyle play this. You're getting this from me scot-fucking-free just because I hate myself that much. Oh, no, never mind. There was one. Things I do for clout sometimes. That extra life.
Hop along, Cassidy!
Man, you think with Animaniacs also being on the air at this time, Bubsy would have stolen his lines from Yakko Warner. I almost expect Bubsy here to make jokes about George H.W. Bush and the Gulf War.
the stuff.
Alright, making a little bit of progress. Right. Alright, no, this is just for the rocket. Never mind. Oh, so they don't hurt me. Never mind. Yeah, see what I mean about dreadful navigation. Honestly, I gotta thank them for these arrows, because if it wasn't for this, the navigation for
Alright!
I'm gonna get to the bottom of what exactly went on during the development of this game, too. Clearly, after 3 Bubsy games, and again, I get that this was early PlayStation, but you think by 3 Bubsy games, they would have learned some sort of a lesson on how to make a better game. Even if it wasn't a Bubsy game thematically, it still kind of fails as a platformer. Like, Jumping Flash was also out on PlayStation way earlier than this, and that feels like a better responding platformer than how this plays. Granted, this has way more 3D aspects to it than Jumping Flash. Oh. Oh. Oh, it's right there.
Pay attention!
I hate this. I hate everything about this. This way. Let me test something. Better than the...
Hop along, Cassidy!
And listen, guys, I also love to crack dated jokes as much as this guy does, but sometimes the references just kind of fly over my head. Especially to anybody who's not as old as this game is. Don't people have blind races with this game? Like, I've seen blind races on Twitch with friends who have never played this game before, but just want to see how bad this game is. So they race their friends and try to get as far as they can. Most of the time, they can't finish the game. But, like, the fact that this game has lasted that much of a legacy that people do blind races of it is actually kind of comical and amusing. I wouldn't wish this kind of torture on Adam, and we played the multiplayer in this. A lot of people even forget that there is multiplayer in this game.
He floats through the air.
It sinks like a brick. Alright, where am I supposed to go? Okay. Oh. No! Thank God! Every stage after this is just an endurance. Oh wait, I want to see how Bubsy dies. Good. We almost hit the boss. Not that it matters much, but water level. Oh no, we're 4 stages away from the boss. All right, fine. I'll do a water level, and then we'll then I gotta take a break. This is already getting to my head, if you can't tell. Das Boot. Das Booten. I think this is like the only other water level in this game, you know? Where did you come from? Oh, no, it's done. Good. Yeah, that beer is going right through me. Let me save it real quick and then we'll take a break. Can't believe out of all that, we've only got one rocket. Alright, I will be right back. Feel free to get another beer or any other form of alcohol, because you're probably gonna need a couple more. I know I will. Alright, be right back. Back. Again. Yeah, so after the next level, we'd already be halfway done with this game. That's how short it is. As much as I've already bitched about it, the game does go by faster than you think. Especially since, 2 of the stages are water levels, 2 of them are bosses. I just don't know what's, I just don't remember much of the game after the second boss. Once we start getting into the levels where you have to ride in the rocket ship part thing, that's when it's gonna be real tough. He does it. I feel like, I'll probably give myself some credit. I feel like most people who rip on Bubsy 3D, again, are the people who probably just go off of whatever review was popular about this game. Even the AVGN with his review on this, it was like, what, 3 minutes long? Because, to be honest, but the AVGN has barely even heard of Bubsy. If you go back and watch that review of his. But seeing this game in action now, I would probably say you're better off. You're better off just keeping your.
Caramba!
Oh, I phrased this. If you haven't played the game, but you're seeing it how it is, you're not missing out on anything. It looks just as bad as it is to play. Again, comparing this game to industry standards. Where am I supposed to be going? That way? You know what would have been kind of nice if all these 3D games that had these kinds of problems had map systems as well. Even for how small that these stages are, it would have been nice to kind of know where exactly on the map I'm. Or at least how far in progress that I'm making a stage. I would have loved to know that for Crash Bandicoot, for how long some of those levels went on for. Just kind of like give a radar as to where exactly in the stage I was. Instead of it just feeling like a marathon.
I hate it when that happens.
Almost like the less I pay attention, the better I'm doing at it. I'll even call it an accomplishment if we even get halfway through this game. Like, much less to the second boss. It's just that first boss that drained me so much. Was putting me in such a sour mood. In addition to kind of having a crap day anyways. I don't know. For any streamers out there, do you ever get so demotivated by your day, but by the time your stream time comes, you're just like, okay, I don't want to do this. I'm not in enough mood. I've had that happen to me a couple times. Hopefully it's understandable enough with whatever you're going through. I mean, not that this game is much of a joy for me to look at the end of the day. I didn't know. Yeah, I planned this a little bit in advance, but knowing that. Okay, so if you get 50 of these, I think you get an extra hit, maybe? But like. Okay. What am I fucking playing Simon for? Oh my god, we're still going. Oh my god, I have to do that all over again. Why'd you change the fucking Uno color? All that for that?
Yeah. You rascally mutant, you!
This game sometimes. I'm trying my damn hardest to keep my, or to pent up my anger. As best as I can. Especially if this is the lightest game of the three that we're playing this week. But knowing how this game is, and knowing everybody's biased/unbiased opinion on it, and knowing how well this game is reviewed over the last nearly 30 years, can you blame me, guys? Can you really? Fuck.
The stuff!
Where is it? Over there. So... Alright. Yes, they want me to tightrope over this.
An X-Man!
Come on, come on. There we go. Every time I get done with a single level of this game, it makes me breathe a little bit easier. Also, I love how he's going through the ghost portrait machine from Luigi's Mansion. I like to think that all the CDs in this picture here are all the unsold copies. Look at Bubsy with this pile of unsold copies of this game. First of all, the disc doesn't even look like that either. Oh, another water level? Don't mind if I do. But there were only two. No, I don't need to know where the lost city of Atlantis is. God, where am I going? Oh, never mind, it's right there. Okay, I'm getting out of here. Also, nice score. Just saying. I forgot to change the screen. I think we are halfway done with this game right now. I mean, I could beat this in 3 hours, but I don't really want to. Why would I want to have the trophy and badge of honor or dishonor by saying that I beat Bubsy 3 in one sitting? Isn't a speedrun of this game like less than an hour at that too? Oh, what is that noise? What are all these noises? Why does it sound like somebody is pulling City Putty? Wonderful! Come on! Bullshit! No. No, not 3 times.
Quit your day job!
putting up with this shit anymore. Now where? Get up! Get up! Please, some mercy. That's for very little out of an already putrid game to play. Also, what the fuck is this level design? You can basically nitpick and bitch about basically anything in this game, from how ugly it looks to how bad it plays. So, like, again, fucking look at this level design! There's nothing coercive about this! There's just random atoms floating all over the place. The navigation, if it wasn't for these freaking arrows all over the place, is just dreadful. I can't believe the creator, rest in peace Michael Berlin, but I can't believe the creator of Bubsy, who came back from this game after completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Disowning Bubsy 2 and the Jaguar game, signed on back for this and said that this was good. Michael Berlin approved this himself. Poor man's churning in his grave now. I bet somebody buried him with a copy of Bubsy 3. You think, you know, God forbid, Dana Gold dies, do you think somebody's gonna bury him with a copy of Gex? Yeah, I have no idea where the fuck I'm supposed to be going. Every new stage in this game that I play against just gives me something mind-blowingly baffling as to why they did this. What? Alright, now where? Oh, now I'm supposed to be going the other way. Please tell me at least one person had to have play tested this game. least one person had to have beaten it too. Somebody. Somebody from the development of this game had to have beaten this before they shipped it out. Now, sometimes they used to not do that at all. Sometimes they would just, before the game was even finished, I mean, they shipped out unfinished games all the time, but like before the game was even finished, sometimes they just didn't even play test them through to see if you can beat the game from start to finish. That was the case with a lot of Amiga games. I'll play till 80,000. Oh, so you get an extra hit if you have a points meter too? Over there. Alright. Almost done with this nightmare.
Oh boy, it looks to kill.
And you'd be dead, Bubsy. Looks could kill. This game would bring people back to life. Done. Another one down. The audacity that this game also supports passwords as well if you don't have a PlayStation memory card. Very few PlayStation games I know do this. I know the original Rayman on PS1 had a password system. I'm willing to bet that by the time, 1997 rolled around, they would have imagined everybody would have had at least one memory card. Given how cheap the PlayStation was going to be by the end of 97. Like, within a year, the PlayStation 1 was already $100 less than what it was at launch. Alright, so this, and then one... This boss... I've seen it, but I don't remember exactly how I'm supposed to beat it. I thought it was just a game of survival. I think you're supposed to knock it into the walls. Or that. Never mind. What the hell killed me? Yeah, that's how I think. We get Dumbo over here to slip on the banana and send him into the laser wall. Can you imagine if this game also ran at 60 FPS? I don't think I've been able to hit him more than once.
I want my mommy!
Surprised Bubsy hasn't done the life alert line where he says, I'm falling and I can't get up. Oh, look at that, we're game over again. Like I've fallen and I choose not to get up. Kinda. The frame rate kinda gets better when you turn the camera around there. Just like keep them in my vicinity. Nope. Of course, the second I stop hopping. You could say that about a lot of games. The Dead Rocks. I would like to say this game is more of a disaster piece than what you've described. I know we just also had the question of, like, are video games art? When I played the Shadow of the Colossus demo. But, like, can a game... I mean, the obvious answer is probably yes, but, like, can a game like this be so bad that it's good again? Like, where's the wraparound for Bubsy 3D for it to be so bad that it's good?
I gotta get a little wages.
Like, there's almost a fine line that we gotta find for that. I mean, if you want to see a Bubsy art piece, play Bubsy 3D, Bubsy Visits the James Turrell retrospective. Or whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, if anything, this is some form of abstract art. Is jumping onto him doing anything, or do I actually have to send him into the walls? guy's got worse hitboxes than the other one. I'll admit, the music on this stage is actually fun. Yeah, I know, there's films that are so bad that they're good. Like their case common example is The Room with Tommy Wiseau. But, like, I'm talking about games that are so bad that they're good again. Would you even consider that for Drake 99? Or is that game just straight up awful? Drake 99, for intensive purposes, plays like shit. It doesn't even look that good for an OG Xbox game. But I'll admit, I had some kind of whack comical moments. The last part of the game, where you're trying to get to the final boss, was total bullshit, though. But seeing how broken the game was actually kind of amusing. When did AVGN do his Drake 99, review? So I did that playthrough summer of 2020, I think, right? That was like my second playthrough that I did on this channel after Batman Dark Tomorrow. I'm still waiting on the nerd to cover Batman Dark Tomorrow. That will be a laugh in the nuts if he does Batman Dark Tomorrow. That game might be my mortal enemy. No, the game's not my mortal enemy. I have a game that I've played on the channel that's way worse than that. And one of the few games that I've rated 1 out of 10. But if it wasn't for that other game, then yeah, Batman Dark Tomorrow would have been. How many times am I gonna hit this guy? Criticize Xbox Microsoft. I have to say something bad about them. Well, I mean, on the topic of it, the Xbox did have Drake and the 99 Dragons. But, like, what else can I say about them? Yeah, other than that, I mean, that's probably gonna be your only one, is, the Xbox had Drake and the 99 Dragons, while the PlayStation had this. Other notably bad games. The PlayStation 2 actually did get saved from having Batman Dark Tomorrow, though, so I will give them credit for that. That I had to play Batman Dark Tomorrow and Drake of the 99 Dragons both on Xbox. So, when Xbox got some bad games, they were notably bad. You just didn't have to watch me play Kabuki Warriors. Have I done Kabuki Warriors on stream? I think I have that game now, finally. Oh, yeah, that's the other big one. Microsoft buying all the AAA companies and doing basically nothing of notoriety for them versus... Yeah, in comparison to how many exclusive PlayStation has, you'd think with how many companies Microsoft now owns, that they would have been turning out some decent games. Are we getting Starfield at all on PlayStation, or is that going to be a PC and Xbox exclusive? I know that's Bethesda, Todd Howard, whatever. I have no idea how to beat this guy. Am I doing this boss fight right? It feels like just jumping on him is not solving anything. If I could stay alive. Normally, I mean, Nintendo doesn't even own that many companies. Like, when Nintendo has a AAA game or whatever, it's mostly in-house done by Nintendo. Could you imagine if Nintendo, like, bought Capcom? Which, you know, that necessarily wouldn't mean the worst thing if we could get more Mega Man. And I take it you guys have seen the Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard whole tirade. I mean, that whole ordeal too is basically like why Microsoft's gotten in a lot of trouble with like having monopolies. I wish Microsoft didn't sell Bungie off. I mean, this is also me complaining that 343 Halo. 343 Halo isn't as good as Bungie Halo. But like, seeing Bungie not owned by Sony just kind of feels off-putting. I have no idea if I'm doing good in the boss fight or not. There's not. I'm just gonna hit this guy like 20 times. Yeah, it's the people working on the games. They're like, I'm glad that companies like Naughty Dog and Insomniac or whatever are still around, but they're definitely not the same guys working in the studio, if there are any left, who worked on games like, you know, Spyro and Ratchet and Clank or whatever. Hell, out of Naughty Dog, how many guys are there now who worked on Uncharted? Uncharted was PS3, so that shouldn't be too long ago, right?
Hey, I'm walking here.
So the trick for this boss is jump around like an idiot. Yeah, well, they kind of had like a majority share in Rare. But like once Star Fox Adventures came out, that was the end of it, and yeah, I know PS3 was 2006. But like once Star Fox Adventures came out, Microsoft bought them out. I gotta figure out what the hell I'm doing at this boss fight. It's also sad to say that this elephant is like the best rendered. That this elephant here is like the best 3D render in this game. Yeah, they had a little bit of ownership. I mean, you also know that they used to own the Seattle Mariners too. They had a majority ownership in that, and then when the Wii U bombed, they had to sell off their majority ownership to back the Wii U again, and then that failed. So I think Nintendo owns like 10% of the Mariners now, but they're no longer the majority shareholders. Yes, please do. Am I supposed to get him to hit the walls there? Is that what's going on? I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Do I just not have to jump on him? Is it just making him slip into the walls? That's what's killing him? Well, no, never mind. I think I'm figuring it out. If they jump on him, that's what makes them throw bananas, and then the bananas make him slip into the wall. Okay, yeah, I've got this now. Yeah, so you do that. When he falls,
Give me my attorney.
hitbox. I mean, that's what I'm gonna blame here is the hitbox are dreadful. Like he does that. Then there's bananas. At least I don't slip on the bananas. He does that. He gets hit by the wall. Okay. And then this starts blinking. Okay. Yeah, see, now the walls are blinking. Okay. Yeah, it takes time for me to figure it out. Hitbox is just... And then... Now that wall's done. Okay. You have to get him... Right here. Hold on. Done. You've got a big brain. Not big enough for this game, though. Yep, Kyle started. And he's doing it. Alright. Let's see just how far we get in like the next 25 minutes. Otherwise, I might just skip to the end. There another reference? I mean, technically, I originally started out as the Sonic Kirby, but are there any good Bubsy games that you've played? Well, first of all, let me answer the first question. I guess the hair is supposed to be like Marth, because I also mean Kirby and Marth in Melee.
I needed that.
Oh. Are there any good Bubsy games you've played? Honestly, kind of getting past some faults, the first Bubsy game on Super Nintendo and Genesis isn't terrible. I'd say... I wouldn't say it's totally decent, but like, at least it's playable. Bubsy 2, on the other hand, you can easily skip. Bubsy 2 on Game Boy, you forgot even existed. The Jaguar one is also miserable. I've never seen anybody even beat the first stage of the Jaguar game. And I haven't played the two newer ones. if you absolutely have to play a new, if you absolutely have to play a Bubsy game, either play the first one or the two newer ones. Yeah, there's two new ones that came out within like the last 5 or 6 years. They're not horrendous, but like nobody asked for them. Yeah, I don't know why. Fuck myself. Yeah, this is when the game goes back to looking like dog shit again. Just complete solid, solid unfiltered colors. Are you serious? You can get hurt by those? Yeah, unique isn't even like the best way to describe it. It looks unfinished. It looks like somebody threw on like one of the default textures in Blender or Maya. Without any filters or shaders. Bubsy barely has any shadows on his model. I'm surprised they even gave him one underneath him.
And I turned down Hamlet to do this.
Who cares, Bubsy? Words. 20 more minutes, and then we're gonna figure out what happened with this game. I beat the second boss and got halfway through this game. I'm already more proud of myself than I ever would be playing this. Isn't I supposed to be collecting balls of yarn? Did I get that back by this? The first game or two, you were collecting balls of yarn. But they switched to Adam. Yeah, everyone and their mother tried to make their own mascot platformer, and most of them fell into obscurity. Well, give me Bug on Saturn over this. Oh, come on.
Just like
I wish I did more with my Saturn. Well, yeah, during the Xbox 360 era. In fact, like, as many... Probably to make a comparison, you know how many platformers there were on, like, N64, along with, like, racing games or whatever? By the time the Xbox came out, By the time the Xbox came out and PS2, there were FPSs out the ass. And that definitely carried on to the 360 era. They definitely stopped with free platformers by the end of the PlayStation era. Well, most of the platformers that you're gonna find were either on PlayStation or N64. Probably better on N64, knowing the controls were better suited for that console. Where am I going?
Stupid stampede!
Where am I going? Okay, so invisibility does not also mean invincibility. I just went around in a complete circle trying to figure out where I was supposed to go. Great navigation. There. 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 What? Oh, you can't touch the floor here. Never actually played Psychonauts. I never got around to playing most of the Xbox platformers. I do have Blinks, though. I'm very proud to say I have Blinks. In Japanese. Not worth it. Come on. Can you imagine a platformer releasing today with a character this obnoxious? Besides, you know, more Bubsy.
I needed that!
The hell's the ending on this stage? Yeah, where's the ending on this stage? It's not already over my head. Okay. Wait. Oh, there's a rocket. Wait, is this whole thing just to get a rocket piece? Might be the longest I've ever actually played Bubsy 3D in one sitting. Hope it's the longest I will ever play in one sitting. Ah. Can't stay in one place because these hummingbird creatures will get me anyways. I think that's the way. Nope. Sports, thanks for the follow.
Not stirred.
Go the next 2 weeks of streams while you still got them. Might be longer than a year, pal. Yeah, the front cover is deceiving because they plastered it with fake awards for this game. But I'm willing to bet that they sold this game for less than Crash Bandicoot was.
Tubular.
Oh, it's right there. Thank God. Well, guess what we're watching after this, pal? Honestly, that drained me. Just kind of want to skip to the end. How many more levels do we have anyways? Yeah, there's not a chance in hell Electronic Gaming Monthly actually said that. Yeah, 6 more levels. Yeah, let me kind of skip to the end right here. But first, I know. Got sleeper hit. God, I can also read the awful text font too. And one more. Just so I never have to play this again. Alright, let's finish this thing. Hopefully they just give me the last rocket at the end. Oh my god. I better beat this with 99 lives, too. It would have been nice to know what that did.
Ah, one-stop shopping.
This is seriously all in one run, right? No checkpoints, nothing? Oh, no, it actually is better just to run it. Where I can actually see what's going on. Oh, no, here we go. Final boss. You know when you find the answer. Console, do you think I had the best launch titles? Dreamcast had a stellar launch. Xbox 360 had some great ones. Honestly, those are probably my top two picks. Yeah, Dreamcast and Xbox 360 would probably be my two top picks. Just with quality compared to quantity. I mean, if you really want to get down to quality to quantity, the N64 literally had Mario 64 and Pilotwing 64. Which, you know, those are two stellar games, but that was literally its entire launch lineup. In the US at least. The European launch was a little bit better. A lot of PlayStation 2's launch games were honestly pretty easy, forgettable. Okay. As long as I can keep doing this. I swear to God, I've taken 97 times. mean, out of the bunch that I would recommend for Dreamcast, besides the obvious Sonic Adventure, Soul Calibur is a good one. Probably it. I think Power Stone was one. The first Power Stone. But for Xbox 360, Amp 3 was a great one. Call of Duty 2 was there. Perfect Dark Zero is not one to go back and look at, to be honest. Like, a third of the 360's launch games were sports games. There was Condemned Criminal Origins, if you like a horror game. I heard the Peter Jackson King Kong game was actually pretty decent. It's already over? What? Oh, no, we still have the rest of the game to go. We still have the rest of the stage. I thought that was literally just it. It's like, okay, game's done, right?
Just like Mom used to make.
At least they gave me a checkpoint. Well, the trick with this is to just go on the sides. They just look like massive trip. Yeah, I mean, if you've never even heard of Bubsy, he was kind of infamous in the 90s. Like, worse than Gex at times. And this was his first and only foray into 3D. And this game was so bad that they didn't make another Bubsy game for 20 years. Wait, what? Oh.
Who booked this gig?
I mean, gee golly, it's like they never... It's almost like they didn't play... It's almost like they didn't play their own game. I'll be honest, I've never actually played the final stage. Huh. If you get hit and teleport at the same time, it just resets your position. Did you do that? Yeah, I think I did. Shit. I don't think I'm supposed to jump. How am I doing this? And these guys are running faster than me, too. And yeah, trying to land your jumps is horrendous. No, it wasn't fall damage. I'm being attacked by these fucking assholes. Hopefully it's not on a timer. I think it is.
Pay attention!
We're not supposed to do this in order. Ooh. Wait, they're already spinning. Except for that one. I think I'm supposed to do this in an order. Shit. I have no idea. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so it's...
I hate it when that happens.
Oh, God. Try to figure it out. There's like not a single walkthrough that tells me what the code for the or what the order for the teleporter is. You've got to be kidding me. Hold on, let me check the speed run. Probably because nobody bothered to get to this point. Blue. Green. Or no, green, blue, red. Yellow.
Good thing I'm a cartoon.
Thank you. Hopefully I don't have to do that again. I have to do that again. No, it's right there. How many lives have I already lost? I've already lost like 12 lives on this stage. No, 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 turn around. Oh my god, this game. fucking lord, this game design. There's nothing coherent about this. I'm gonna put my graphic design major on the table here, but as far as overall game design, this might be one of the worst I've ever seen. This is everything on how not to make a game. And believe me, my senior collaborative project was on game design. 2D at that, but still. Nothing this atrocious.
You did read the instructions, didn't you?
I don't believe it. I just don't fucking believe it that they looked at this and were proud of this. That they released it in this state. But they thought there was nothing else left to do with this game. Well, at least unlike Bubsy 1, you don't die in one hit. You have to do what I think. Yes, you do. Yeah, see? If you hold it on for too long... If you hold it on for too long, you get hit.
I'm shaken, not stirred.
Please, just have them take only one hit. Only so much more of this game that I can take. I wouldn't even have made it this far. Or I wouldn't even have done this if we didn't make it this far. Like, Bubsy turned around faster. God. Fucking look at this and you tell me that this is fair. You look at me dead in the eye and tell me that this is well designed. isn't it? Not a chance in hell I'll be able to beat this entire stage on 3 lives either. They can't make me. They could not expect me to beat this stage on 3 lives or less. If maybe Bubsy would spin around faster, I'd get around to hitting him sooner. There has to be at least one person who played tested this game and beat this, and said that this was fair. There has to be at least one person out there who worked on this game who was able to beat this. I'm done. I can't. I cannot with this game anymore. I just fucking can't. Oh my god. They released the game like that. And thought that it could compete with Crash Bandicoot. They released it in that state. Oh my god. Well, for the two words that I'm about to ask, what happened? Let's turn the crowd over to the guy who can definitely answer that question for me. Ladies and gentlemen, where is it? Let's find out what happened with this game. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt McMuscles. I need to figure out what happened with this game. How did it get to this stage? This will be the last thing that we do on this. With every game that we watch this week, with every game that we play through this week, we're gonna watch one of these after we're done.
Bubsy? What?
Bubsy.
Oh, Bubsy. Right. Wait, who? Yeah, I don't know him.
I sure as hell know him. Sure, we all know him by now.
Yeah. Which game are we doing?
Your volume's low. Okay.
I should have taken that left turn at Uranus.
All right then. The show where we exhaustively research and break down some of the gaming
That better?
industry's filthiest little failures, and there's no failure filthier than Bubsy 3D. Our story starts in 1984, where two co-founders of Activision, these guys, broke away to start a new similarly named company in Accolade, who is both a publisher and developer, and not amazing at
The best
either.
things that Accolade
Neither was
made
a
before
Turk in
Bubsy
their Universal Soldiers
were
or Genesis,
Test Drive
but
and
they didn't really
Hardball.
have a
I don't know how they
quotation
got
marks
around to
until
doing
the original
Bubsy
Bubsy game, which was
before
cleverly
that.
subtitled Clawed Encounters of the Furred Kind. And just look at this guy, man. Wherever did they get the idea for such a fresh character? An anthropomorphic mammalian mascot with two to spare, and flaunts his naked form right in your face, except for one article of clothing? I guess we'll never know.
Oh, come on. You know I'm your hero.
Bubsy is credited as
Yeah,
being
they
the
probably ripped it
brainchild
off of Rocky
one
Knight
Michael
Adventures.
Berlin, who was the main designer for the game, which went into production for the
Rest in
Genesis
peace, that
in
guy.
late 1991. An SNES version was then also penciled in, with the port to primarily be handled by one solid-state software. Bubsy was then released in 1993 and, was a platformer. You can certainly say that about it. Now, reviews for it at the time were on the better end of the spectrum, but ultimately, the little furball was but one face among dozens of a high school yearbook lineup of rip-offs and clones.
Yes.
Regardless, this first title in the series proved to be a hit for Accolade, who, around this time, badly needed one. The logical thing then, of course, was to fart out a sequel the very next year. Thus, the plainly titled Bubsy 2 was released on both consoles, as well as adding a Game Boy version to the mix.
Yeah, a lot of
in case
people
you needed
forget.
your slavering Bubsy addiction satiated while on the road.
A lot of people forget that
Taco
this game was on
Bell
Game
even
Boy.
flirted with producing an animated TV series for the no pants wearing cat, but then just as quickly regained their senses.
Virgil.
Fun fact, that
Later
TV
the
pilot was
same
sponsored
year,
by Taco
that
Bell.
Same 1994, there was another Bubsy game. This time, the fractured furry suit tails, whatever, for the Jaguar, which is at least on brand, as you had a Bobcat make its way onto a Jaguar. If they could have made another sequel in Atari's ill-fated Panther and the Lynx, then a sort of trifecta for
I
this
think there was
stupid
supposed to
idea
be
I
a
just
port
made
of,
up would be complete. Handled
Bubsy
by
2 to the
Advantage
Game
Tech
Boy
this
as
time,
well.
Bubsy Jaguar, like most Jaguar games, wasn't much better or more advanced than anything available on
Correct me on
16-bit
that.
systems, and was seen as a critical and commercial failure. In fact, Bubsy 2 wasn't even a toe bean on the paw of the franchise, as it also performed poorly compared to that first outing. The publishing arm of Accolade then turned to Michael Berlin once again to write the ship of Bubsy to get the series back on track. God, this feels so weird to say. As Michael hadn't actually touched the series since Clawed Encounters of the Third...
Yeah, he didn't work on Bubsy 2 at all.
Eidetic, and seemed like they would be the perfect studio to shepherd the venerated, prestigious Bubsy franchise. The problem, however, was that 32-bit systems were starting to come out, with 3D seemingly looking like the next big thing, which, for a lot of developers, wasn't the easiest transition. Eidetic was based in
Earthworm
Bend,
Jim also
Oregon,
failed
and
miserably.
started as a
Played
very
that
small
one.
team, less than 10, which was something that needed to change when they accepted the task of bringing Bubsy screaming and clawing into 3D.
Hey, what could possibly go wrong?
They started by hiring anyone that they could, which usually meant young
You can count on
programmers,
more than two
artists
hands how
straight
many
out of
times
school and devoid
Bubsy
of
says
any
that
real
line in the
experience.
pilot as well.
Bubsy was only scheduled for the PlayStation initially, which was just starting to blow up at the time. Now, while that was exciting, this was to be the team's first fully 3D game on
They
brand
almost
new
had
hardware,
Bubsy
and the
3D on the
IP they were
Saturn,
working
too. It was
on a
advertised for the
NASCAR
Saturn as well.
platformer, which presented a problem. No such thing really existed yet, leaving them little to work off of. Richard Ham, a young hire at the time, had grim memories during this exploratory period working on Bubsy 3D. We knew we weren't doing well. The writing was on the wall and it wasn't very polite. I knew the game was far from perfect, but I took pride in doing the best I could every step of the way. My perspective on making games was still being formed back then, but it was still my dream job. One of the most fundamental problems for Eidetic was marrying the PlayStation's unsubtle and rather stiff D-pad to full 3D navigation, something that
I'll stop and say it here. I shouldn't be so hard on the developers if they were inexperienced and this was their first time doing this. I realize, for all the gripes that I had with this game, and fair enough to myself by saying it, the PlayStation was in its infancy in late 1996. It was only out on the market in the US for a little over a year at this time. I mean, looking at that D-pad, I even said it myself, most 3D games that control without analog sticks don't sever well with me, and Bubsy 3D, much like Crash Bandicoot, falls in that line. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there that it was an early pioneering time. But for them to also be very, lacking in confidence with them versus, anybody who did have some development in 3D gaming up to this point. I mean, again, 1996. I probably would have given it to somebody better experienced. But then again, who would have done it better if it's fucking Bubsy 3D of all games?
that it wasn't really designed for. It's the reason why other developers found unique solutions for character control or designing around these limitations, whether they be too...
But why they went with the Resident Evil style controls?
This ambition to be fully 3D was such a core problem in terms of how Bubsy played, but it wasn't something Eidetic could scrap and just redo all over again, especially when they had Accolade breathing down their neck. The publisher wasn't exactly posting record-high quarters around this time, as the last few Bubsy games failed to perform, as well as most of Accolade's recent output. God,
Accolade went out of business by the end of the decade,
logo somewhere else before. Shit.
Like, I think they're only back in name only, but the original Accolade was gone by like 2000.
Platform around yet, the team looked towards an unlikely source of inspiration that they really shouldn't have taken as a source of inspiration. There really wasn't such a thing as a 3D platform.
Didn't I mention Jumping Flash earlier in the stream today? By saying Jumping Flash played better than this? If so, I'm going to eat those words. I'm going to eat those and take that back. If this was actually if Bubsy 3D was inspired more by Jumping Flash than it was Crash Bandicoot. If that's the case, then I apologize.
All we had for inspiration was another PlayStation game called Jumping Flash. Jumping Flash had very small levels, and it was in first person with Doom-style controls that had been well received, so we decided to try and build on it. Let's go third person, let's have bigger levels, let's bring in stuff from the other Bubsy games, let's make it really high resolution. We had a higher resolution than anything on the PlayStation at the time, and we suffered hugely for making that decision. We went for high res as opposed to lots of textures because no one else was doing it, and that's why the game had a stark look. Major portions of it are untextured because all the memory was being committed to that resolution.
Well, does that answer your questions, class? So that's why the game looked as murky and as unfinished as it did, because the game had such a high resolution. I will admit, there are some N64 games that do follow in this suit as well, especially with the expansion pack. I recognize, like, if you have an expansion pack in your N64, it'll usually say it recognizes it, but it'll give you the option for a higher resolution in the trade of having murkier, lower quality graphics. So for Bubsy 3D to kind of pioneer that, I'll give it a little bit more credit for that too.
Okay, alright, let's think.
But the
about
fact
this.
that it looked like this,
If you have
though.
all your memory doing one thing, supporting the stupid high resolution, for example, then how much do you think is left over for everything else? That's right, nothing. While this certainly goes towards explaining the untextured look of Bubsy 3D, it also explains the lack of everything else. There's so few things in this thing, like, in general. Enemies, objects, weapons, video game stuff. Yes, there are atomic symbols to collect, which is basically what you spend.
Even
most of the
Daikatana
day
had that
doing,
option
and to be
early
fair,
on.
collecting some type of currency or power-up or logo is what most platforms
Crash
are
would be
all
in here
about.
somewhere.
However, when your PlayStation game looks like the protagonist was sucked into a Super FX chip game, it doesn't really matter if the bare essentials, like running into an object equals collecting it, is any type of great accomplishment. Opting for some weird high-resolution mode simply because no one else was is a testament to Eidetics' inexperience. That was the biggest hurdle, yeah, the memory. We couldn't build what we wanted to build. We couldn't draw what we wanted to draw. On our development kit, Bubsy ran fine. All the crazy colors and checkered walls looked great together. But on the PlayStation Retail kit, it was impossible. There was no way our engine could support it. So we had to bring in the fog, then bring in more fog. It just destroyed the sensation.
So, I get that the PlayStation is a pretty underpowered console, despite how many games are on for it. The N64 and Saturn and hell, even the Dreamcast memory kicked the PlayStation's ass. I'll give that some credit too. But it feels like they focus more on how the game performs audio-visually, I guess, over how it actually plays, which kind of took out the fun factor of the game and why it wasn't fun. So that's another good reason why Bubsy 3D was such a frustrating game, not only because it was an eyesore to look at, but because the rest of the game, I'll admit, it had some higher, for the higher resolution, it also had some higher frame rates too. There was some times where it looked like it was peaking at 60 FPS, but that doesn't matter. I'd gladly play a game that's chugging at 30 FPS, but plays so much better versus a game that's at 60 FPS, but it looks like it's handling like it's about to explode. That's pretty much the definition, or that's pretty much what I feel with most PlayStation games, and why I usually preferred to play games for the longest time on the N64, for the fun factor at most. And yeah, again, even the Saturn had a couple those RAM card expansions for like games like Street Fighter. That was on the Saturn as well too. It's just every other console that came out after the PlayStation was inputting so much more power, at probably at a cheaper price.
Now, among all these fundamental problems with the gameplay and performance, work began piling up for Eidetic from other sources. Accolade then ordered a port for the Sega Saturn, which the team then needed to allocate time to, which, if you know anything about the Saturn, would be a monumental task in and of itself.
It'd be interesting to see if there was a Bubsy 3D prototype on the Saturn anywhere.
Unlike, say, the PSX, which was already struggling to get Bubsy to work in the first place, it wasn't exactly the most encouraging start. Accolade also asked for them to start prototyping for another Bubsy 3D sequel on top of that. And on top
Bubsy
of
goes with
that,
the
they were
DMV.
also in pre-production on a completely different game altogether. A concept called...
Especially porting to the
No,
Saturn.
this is another Jumper, and isn't even really the Jumper I just made this joke for. Jumper was to center around a post-apocalyptic future in which humanity had been overtaken by a massive robotic presence, with the player being able to project their minds into the bodies of various enemies. So, yeah, not that
I'm willing to
Jumper,
bet we got
but
that
this
game later
Jumper,
on.
or even this. The system was going to
Omicron, the
Bubsy's
Nomad
barely
soul.
functioning engine, so with that many irons in the fire, a few things eventually had to give. Accolade then told us to put Jumper on the shelf and to focus on Bubsy, but they probably should have told us to do that a whole lot sooner. That whole time was just insane. I don't think I'd call it hubris, I'd just call it ignorance. Now, even with that burden temporarily lifted, one thing that was still slowing down progress on Bubsy was having to develop it for two platforms that couldn't have been any more polar opposite in how they handled graphics. There's a reason why a lot of multi-platform games in the fifth generation
the 3D
had
on
special
Saturn is a
custom
nightmare to
Saturn
work with.
versions that ran on completely different engines, or were
And if
3Ds
anybody knew how to do 3D well on Saturn, it was these guys. It was Lobotomy Software who did the Quake, Duke Nukem, and Power Slave ports to the Saturn. Lobotomy Software was the king of 3D on Saturn.
released
For how
months
few
or
games that they
sometimes years after their PlayStation counterparts. The Saturn was just an altogether different beast, so unique solutions needed to be found to get things to properly
It was a
run
2D
on it.
powerhouse
It was
console
only
more than it
at
was
the
3D
11th hour where
anyways.
Accolade gave in and decided to cancel the Saturn version, as the months of slamming heads into keyboards yielded no real results. This is where work on Bubsy 3D finally started to progress in earnest. During this last period of development, one thing the team fooled around with, which would later be a handy takeaway, was Bubsy's unique two-player mode. Essentially, the first player controlled the horrible Bobcat on their own, while the second player could shoot the Atom pickups from a fixed perspective, sort of like a sniper. While it seemed odd at the time, it would be something that Eidetic would come back to for a future project. Now, even without all
Did
these
anybody
time
else
wasters
actually
and
play the
progression walkers,
multiplayer in
Bubsy
Bubsy
needed
3D?
more time to smooth out its
Besides me and
very rough,
Adam?
very brightly colored polygonal edges.
The thought of our next adventure already has me tingling with excitement.
Accolade refused all requests for a delay in its release, as they needed a big marquee title to take advantage of the burgeoning 3D boom.
I mean, it's probably as exciting as the multiplayer in Superman 64, which, yes, if you forgot, that had
Thing to
multiplayer.
also note is that 1996 was a slapper of a year and absolutely the wrong one to have shipped Bubsy 3D in. Maybe if it had started as some obscure 32X or Jaguar release the year prior, people wouldn't have noticed it as
No,
much, and
there was
therefore not
multiplayer
been the
in
subject
the
of
original
ridicule
Bubsy
that it
3D.
is today.
If you look on the
But
title
facts
screen,
are
there's
the
a two-player
facts, and
option.
Bubsy's November 96 release date squarely put it in the public eye, as it had to follow up two other notable entries in the platforming genre.
Did you not see that on the title
Might
screen?
have heard of them. So, hey, gamers from 1996, let me put a hypothetical out to you. Which
It's
of
really on.
these would you rather play? And let me alter this just a bit, if I may. We're going to use some different footage here, but the effect is essentially the same. Now, which of these electronic pieces of entertainment look worthy of your $60? Think carefully. Now, joking aside, hindsight is 2020, but if Accolade had given the team a few months more, it could have been possible for them to work out enough kinks in Bubsy to make it more playable, or at the very least,
Speaking
less
to the guy who's
embarrassing.
had an
However,
N64
at the
since
end of the day,
96
Eidetic
probably.
had to take their licks, and oh, the licking did come. Richard Ham recalls the mood in the studio as, not super positive. It was dark after Bubsy. It hurt getting those worst game of all time remarks. Accolade let us go. We were on our own. There were layoffs, and the game almost killed Eidetic. But we were a small team, so that helped. There was a lot of gallows humor. We focused on the little successes. In the meantime, we were out there, talking to every publisher who would open their door, promising we had learned our lesson. We had that prototype of the Bubsy sequel, where we'd tune the
I hope
controls
that
on the
prototype
PlayStation
still exists
D-pad
somewhere.
to mimic, as best we could, the movement of Mario 64, and it looked great. So this is where the story kind of takes an unexpected turn. Despite making one of, if not the most critically panned game on the PlayStation, Sony decided to give Eidetic a chance and set them to work on a stealth action game, which had been pitched by a
Siphon Filter.
producer at 989 Studios. That stealth action game turned out to be Siphon Filter. This is where those
The
lessons
guys
the team
who
learned
published
on
Bubsy
specifically that two-player minigame,
did Siphon
came
Filter.
into play. And while not on the same level as something like
And then
Metal
later
Gear
Days
Solid,
Gone.
the first game in the series was a critical smash, with Eidetic going on to 4 more sequels. They were then bought up by Sony and were officially renamed Sony Bend, creating 2 Uncharted handheld spin-offs on some forgotten handheld before returning to consoles with 2019's Days Gone.
Told you.
Wow. So, unlike a lot of developers who've come
That's a long way to play 6 Degrees of Bubsy, isn't it? Going from Bubsy all the way to fucking Days Gone.
across during what happened, Eidetic were indeed very close to disaster, but were able to pull away from the threat of closure, using their mistakes to inform their future and to make better, smarter games overall. Richard Ham, however, didn't see much of his former studio's success, as he moved on to a creative director position at Splash Damage in 2008, where he worked on a particular first-person shooter that shall we say, pushed him over the brink and into retirement from the world of video game development.
Ooh.
His parting words on the topic
That'll be for another day.
3D are also fairly high in sodium. We did the best we could, and we tried to carry through with decisions that had already been made. Maybe the rest of the team wants to just forget it and never bring it up again, but I'm still proud of Bubsy 3D. I never stopped being proud of it. At the time, the young kids in their 20s writing reviews for magazines didn't have any idea what it took to make games.
And they still don't.
To them, their responses were justified. To us, it was bullshit, and Bubsy 3D deserved better. Today, things are even more cutthroat, so personally, I'm out. I'm done with that shit. Okay.
I'll give him... I know I'm giving everybody better credit now. I'll give him credit. After that whole tirade, and then going on to what was just explained, yeah, I don't blame him. I guess the whole moral of the lesson, I know we're, 2 minutes out of this, but like, I guess the whole moral of the lesson, game dev is hard. Even the AVGN, when he did the end of the LGN reviews, mentioned that making a game is hard, and especially if it's your first time doing a first time experience, it's hard for anybody to comprehend. So if it was their first time with a lot of inexperienced 23 whatever year olds, guys my age doing pioneering work, somebody's got to do the dirty job. All right, it would pain to see that your first experience of this is probably your worst, but it's good on them that they did have a bit of a glow up and go on to make games like Siphon Filter, Uncharted, and Days Gone, for how that turned out. I mean, hell, if you guys know the story of what's his name, Seamus Blackley, the guy who is the founder, or the guy who's the inventor of the Xbox, the original Xbox, he started out working on Jurassic Park Trespasser, a game that was infamously flopped, but it was backed by Steven Spielberg and Richard Attenborough, and just all these guys who worked on the original Jurassic Park. And Microsoft took that experience, which, at the time, Seamus thought was a failure. That later went on to create the thing that you play Halo on. So, with every failure as big as Bubsy 3D or whatever, there's a lot of opportunity elsewhere. And I've even find that in my job search too, with, with the feedback that I got on my last job interview. So hopefully there was some hope for these guys. As far as Bubsy, yeah, they were right to bury this cat for the next 20 years.
Okay, calme-toi, jeez. Now, honestly, that final quote is a lot to unpack when you realize it's coming from one of the creative heads on Brink, a What Happened episode that, yes, doesn't really exist. I teased it, but certainly will get its time on our stage soon enough. As for Bubsy himself, nothing really. He died with that first 3D entry and let us never speak of him again. Fine. Chinese company Billionsoft purchased the Accolade name for some reason and the rights to Bubsy for some reason, and released a terrible game in 2017, courtesy of Black Forest Games, then released another terrible game earlier this year. When there's so many...
And now Bubsy is owned by Atari for some reason. How did that happen?
Floating around alone and unused in the universe of video games, it just makes you think how they all deserve a second shot far, far, far more than Bubsy, the motherfucking Bobcat. So if you're aware of any other fuming festivals of
I don't blame you, Matt.
failure within the realms of movies, games,
That last sigh
speak
is
up
just
in the
basically
comments
what
below,
everybody
or
feels
claw
about
your way
me.
over to the Flophouse VIP Patreon to
Alright, I think that's that. Was he not wrong? Was I not wrong? I don't want to blame everything on the designers now that I know what you do. A little information goes a long way with these kinds of things. The more that you know about the design work of this, granted, I can't believe that they designed it like that. So, I want to give them credit and a little bit of benefit of the doubt that it was that if it was their first time, that'll be happening. But seeing how that last level was and how it was designed, the choices that they made in the game were far more than just questionable. There needed to be some more investigation into that. I understand that it was a tough time for everybody to jump into 3D. I mean, look how Mega Man and Castlevania turned out. That was a tirade. But somebody had to take the best seat, and it definitely wasn't going to be these guys. Well, that's part one. I can't believe we're doing more of these games. That's part one of this week of crap games. Tune in next time for... You guys want to know what's next? You guys want to know what we're actually playing tomorrow? I'll give you an 8-second preview of what we're playing tomorrow. Yeah, that's tomorrow. Alright, let's get the hell out of here. I was playing Dreamcast, and I hope to God he didn't play, Propeller Arena before I told him to. Let's see. Yeah.
What am I fighting for?
We're in for a very, very long week. Alright, let's get ready. I hope you guys don't blame me for not being able to beat Bubsy 3D. It's not a badge of honor anybody wants to wear. I'm done. I need to rest my thumbs. Shh. I almost want to get another beer after that, though. Take care, folks. Good night.